And now, a Fox Carolina First Alert Weather Day update.
First Alert Chief Meteorologist Kendra Kent here. Tornado warning has been issued for Buncombe County, and this also includes McDowell County and parts of Rutherford County. And this goes for the next several minutes as we've detected rotation not too far from Black Mountain. So let's give you an idea. I have the area highlighted in red. These are the areas, these are the communities that are under the gun for a possible tornado in the mountains. And mountain tornadoes don't happen all that often. This is a powerful system that has been able to overcome the high terrain impacts on these storms for anywhere from Summerhaven to Montreat, Black Mountain, Ridgecrest. I'm going to take the warning layer off so that you can see where this storm is, and we'll do a storm track on the worst part of it here just to give you an idea of who is going to be seeing this, and we'll take a look at some of that rotation as well. So this is going to be moving it on into portions of Rutherford County as well as McDowell County, so Moffett Hill, White House, some of these smaller communities in the path of this storm. So right now, what we have is a tornado warning for Buncombe County, but the main threat is east of Asheville. So I do want to emphasize that as we're going to continue to monitor the situation for central Buncombe County, but the eastern portion of the county, that's where we have the greatest threat for a tornado right now. So we can get a look at the winds, and right here you can see how we've got the spin that's causing a kind of a kink in the red and green there. That's an indicator that we've got some spin close to the surface. So we've got what could be a tornado forming at just about any time, and that's really right over Black Mountain right now too. And I'll get you more information from the actual statement that was put out by National Weather Service here in a second. But this has been something we've been monitoring over the last few minutes as the storm line has been evolving. It's a severe thunderstorm capable of a tornado, nothing confirmed. And this is northeast of downtown Asheville. So this is going to stay east of Asheville near Black Mountain, moving southeast at 30 miles per hour. So if you're just joining us, this is a severe thunderstorm that now has become a tornado-warned storm. This is east of Swannanoa. Swannanoa, you are not in this warning, but we are looking at the potential for a tornado near Black Mountain and making its way along I-40. So there's a potential we could have a tornado touchdown not too far from a very busy interstate at the moment. So that's one of the reasons that we're on air, and we're going to stay with this as it continues to move closer to spots like Old Fort. So we'll put it back on the regular radar here. And you can see tornado warning until 1 a.m. For Buncombe, McDowell, and Rutherford counties. And that is, again, going to be a situation we're going to monitor because of the fact that we've had the rotation on radar, and also the fact that we are going to be looking at this going very close to I-40, and it's embedded within a line of storms. This is one of those things that would be very difficult to see it coming, and night has fallen. So it's also an extra dangerous situation. So because of that, we urge you to take those precautions, and let's talk a little bit more about some of those tornado safety precautions here. If you are in a mobile home, you need to abandon that mobile home if you're in the path of this storm anywhere near Black Mountain, east of Swannanoa, east of Asheville. This is not over the Asheville area, but Buncombe County, you are included in this warning. So get to the lowest floor of your home, away from windows, hallway, bathroom, or a closet. These are good places to be. Every home is different, though. In my particular house, ours is an internal closet and actually a pantry. It's one of the best places to go. You just want to make sure it doesn't have any windows, that you can get to the most internal part, so you put as many walls between you and the outside as you can. So if you are in Black Mountain, Old Fort, these are a couple of the bigger communities in the path of this storm. I definitely want you to be taking those precautions, and we'll talk about some of those other communities here in just a second. So continuing to track this tornado warning, we're going to go back to radar, and I want to show you what we've got going here. A severe thunderstorm warning still continues for the city of Asheville, but for the tornado warned storm, this is near Montreat and Black Mountain. And then this is going to be moving toward Old Fort. And just to zoom in a little bit closer, Moffett Hill, that's where we're seeing the potential for a tornado to develop. This could go all the way down toward White House, Faro, Vane Mountain, Thermal City, Shingle Hollow. And they are areas that are in northern Rutherford County. This is not including the city of Asheville. If you're just tuning in, say you saw the severe thunderstorm or the tornado warning for Buncombe County, that is not including Asheville. Asheville is included in a severe thunderstorm warning. And I'm going to zoom it out a little bit just to kind of show you what's going on. There are storms all over the mountains right now. And you can really see that as we put this into loop, how they've moved through and really have not lost their intensity at this point. Just checking in with National Weather Service, but does not appear we've had any reports of a tornado, anything that is confirmed on the ground. It's going to be tough to get any kind of confirmations tonight with it dark like it is, especially in the mountains too. This is the worst place to try to go storm chase or tornado chase, and it's never a good idea to do that at night when you've got high terrain and lots of trees and such. It's a reason you don't see our area featured on tornado chaser TV shows and such, just because it is so dangerous to get out there. So don't get out and try to see anything with this. I would recommend you remain indoors, away from windows, get to that lowest floor of your home. From Old Fort, extending over toward Bat Cave Road, Buffalo Creek Road, White House, anywhere toward the south and east of Old Fort. We'll be watching for that. We've got a little bit of time before it makes it to those areas. So let's take a look at the rotation within the storm. I'm plotting a few areas of wind here. We're not seeing any incredibly high wind, but we're seeing enough in the way of the wind turning with height. That's an indicator that there could be a tornado within this thunderstorm. And I'll circle the area too. It's really this kinked region where you would find the greatest threat for a tornado to develop. And that's really been sitting over Black Mountain. But when we get a brand new radar update, it's likely going to be jumping to the south and east. So that's why Old Fort, you're included in this warning. And this is right along Interstate 40. So scary time to have a tornado warning come down if your phone went off and went crazy. And that's why we want to be with you and keep you posted. Okay, we just got a brand new update. And it does look like that it's still holding on to some level of rotation, but notice where I had drawn those lines, those arrows, no longer do we see that kink in the line. We see it kind of diving southward into McDowell County, closer to parts of Rutherford County. So we'll watch and see if that trend holds. But certainly it looked like a little bit more impressive with potential rotation there. See that kink in the green, where the red meets the green there within that area. I'll circle it one more time so you can kind of see it. That's when it was warned on, and then watch what happens in the next frame. It's flattening out a little bit, so we're not seeing as strong of rotation with it. Well, we always want to see trends before any kind of warning is lifted. And if that trend does hold, then we may end up seeing this warning removed for Buncombe County, McDowell County, and Rutherford County. So still no reason to not be on your guard. And I do want to review the other areas that we're seeing those severe thunderstorm warnings, because these are also dangerous. I'm going to take the winds off here and we'll look at the live radar. So severe thunderstorm warning continues for Buncombe, Haywood, Henderson, and McDowell counties. This is the area that actually does include Asheville and eventually Hendersonville because of the strong wind as well as the hail potential that's going to be rolling on in. So I'll take this layer off and you can just kind of see what we're looking at this point. I want to zoom out to the upstate because I know many of you around Greenville, Spartanburg, Easley, Clemson may be wondering when this is going to be hitting the upstate area. And you can see it's a lot of green there. That is some clutter near the radar site. It's in sensitive mode there. Just taking this off just to show you a different radar product to show you where the rain is actually falling. And you can see light rain around northern Oconee, northern Pickens counties, but no severe weather for the upstate yet. We've got the heavy downpours continuing for areas south of Bryson City, getting into Highlands, spots like in Macon County, and then a cluster of lightning strikes there in Georgia. These storms have had a history of producing tornadoes. And getting a look, too, at these storms, it looks right now that we don't have any imminent tornado warnings with these in northeast Georgia. So that's a good sign as they push into the upstate. But this one right here, you can see that's what sticks out, the red. That's our tornado-warned storm for Buncombe County as well as McDowell and Rutherford County. We're going to keep on watching that rotation with the storm and keep you posted on exactly if it's getting any stronger. But the threat is beginning to get out of Buncombe County. So as we take a look at the latest on radar, I'll put our high-definition radar back on there so you can really see that even the heaviest rain is beginning to exit Buncombe County. Put this into loop, and we're starting to see that move out of Black Mountain as well. We talked about how that rotation was right on top of Black Mountain, getting closer to Old Fort. And we'll check back in on that too. Here we go. And you can see they have actually removed Buncombe County from the tornado warning. Going to double check that with the National Weather Service, but it does look like Buncombe County is no longer, it's been canceled for Buncombe County. So now the main concern is going to be for McDowell County as well as Rutherford County, Old Fort, this area of weakening rotation, but it is still there, is right on top of you. We can also check in with some of the hail parameters too for the storm to see what kind of hail we're up against, and we're not seeing a whole lot. You know, the main show with hail really happened earlier in the day, but we are continuing to monitor for that threat. Let me see if I can get that back on there. Yeah, see, we're just not picking up much in the way of hail, but is certainly picking up on the potential for some rotation within the thunderstorm, and that's why a tornado warning is out. So Old Fort, and let's do some street level mapping here as we go a little bit closer in. Bat Cave Road, Old Fort, Sugar Hill Road, and again, these are some smaller communities here, but anywhere along that Bat Cave Road, near Old Fort, and of course along I-40, of course a very highly traveled interstate, not necessarily this time of night, but there's still folks out there, and if you do know of anyone that is on the roads right now, give them a call, let them know about this situation because they may not be aware that there's a tornado warning. Maybe they're driving in from the Charlotte area and would be driving right into it if Old Fort is on their route. So it's especially important to make sure that folks are aware of this, and it's a scary time when it's this time of night because so many folks are asleep. Hopefully anyone who's in this area got that alert from their First Alert weather app or a NOAA weather radio, woke them up. And then that's, again, why we're on the air with you to ride you through this, because if we get any reports from National Weather Service, we can pass those along, and we can also just keep you abreast of exactly where this storm is located. And we anticipate this to continue down into the upstate as well, but it's not quite there yet. You can see all we have, you just see a lot of green there. That's the radar in a pretty sensitive mode down in the upstate. But if we pull away a little bit of that sensitivity there, you can see the heaviest of the rain is starting to get into northern Greenville County at this point, but nothing severe other than what we're seeing across western North Carolina. So this is one of those situations where tornado has not been spotted. We're seeing the signs that the rotation is becoming less, but the tornado warning does continue out of an abundance of caution, and we want to see some trends here. And this is around Old Fort along I-40. And then would eventually make it into some other smaller communities along here. We were doing a little bit of street level mapping earlier around Sugar Hill Road, and then toward White House community. So these are the spots that would be impacted. Northern Rutherford County also will have to keep an eye out north of Green Hill there, Thermal City, Vane Mountain, Shingle Hollow, Union Mills, all communities where you need to be taking those tornado safety precautions right now. Let's take another look at some of that rotation and we'll continue to monitor this. I'm going to put that up. I mean, there is still certainly enough to warrant this tornado warning continuing, and you can just kind of see right here where we have near Moffett Hill and Old Fort. I'll circle this area. It's really right over I-40. We're seeing some of the worst of the rotation. I'm checking another product too, seeing what National Weather Service is saying as well, but right now nothing, doesn't appear we have any new updates on the storm, other than the Buncombe County portion has been canceled. We are still, again, tracking this storm over Old Fort, and the rotation within the storm has become less defined, but it is still worthy of watching because of the fact that it could cycle back up and we could look at a quick tornado touchdown, especially as this is getting out of the higher mountains and dropping down into the foothills. You know, the mountains make it tough for tornadoes to develop. The friction there just doesn't allow them to develop and stay on the ground for very long. So that's one reason that we very rarely hear about tornadoes happening in the mountains. It's not an old wives' tale. The terrain really does mess with them, but you can still get this rotation and brief touchdowns can happen. So we may end up finding out that some trees got damaged, or maybe only small areas. But there's also a potential that we could have had one on the ground, especially back around Black Mountain, where that rotation was a little bit more defined. But again, watching this oh so closely around Old Fort. I do want to take you around the radar, though, and show you what else is happening, as we still have that, again, tornado warning if you're just joining us until 1 a.m. for McDowell and Rutherford counties. This is not for Buncombe County any longer, and we are tracking some heavy downpours and rumbles of thunder now too, getting down into the northern part of Greenville County. So plenty of lightning strikes there. Some heavy downpours, but no sign of any severe weather so far for northern Greenville County just yet. But we'll be watching for that over the next few hours. It's really going to take this main line making it all the way into the upstate for us to begin to see that severe threat increase, and that's going to happen in the next hour or so. In fact, let's take a look at the hour-by-hour forecast, because we're getting brand new updates on our high-resolution model for this overnight. And you can see there's 1 a.m., and that really is kind of lining up with what we're expecting. By 1 a.m., we're going to see a lot of this push into Greenville, Spartanburg, northern parts anyway, north of the 85 line, and then continue toward 2, 3 in the morning. Now, this is a time when the storms are expected to still be severe, but the tornado threat is going to be going down as the night wears on. That's one of the reasons why this watch ends at 4 a.m., because by then there's pretty much going to be no energy left for these storms to continue to thrive. So you can see at 3 a.m. there's still a little bit left, and then we'll start to see things settle down towards your morning commute. So that's actually pretty good news for getting the kids out the door, getting them to school, getting yourself to work. And, especially if you've been kept awake with the prospect of severe weather, or if you're up in western North Carolina and dealing with it. So you can see there we have the potential for some more quick passing storms, but by 3 p.m. tomorrow should be in the clear. So I'm going to go on back here real quick and show you what we've got going, show you some of the trends that we're seeing here when it comes to these storms in the mountains. So just tweaking a couple of settings here on radar so that we can even better kind of show you what's happening. So we've got the tornado warning that continues until 1 a.m. for McDowell and Rutherford counties. And then we have all this heavy rain. I mean, look at this, a couple areas kind of coming together in Henderson County. So now you are completely covered in that rainfall. And then we've got some strong storm activity getting into Clayton. And, you know, it's always a little scary when you have a couple segments like this coming together in Rabun County. That could easily begin twisting and turning, and especially in the environment that we have in place right now. So definitely no reason to let your guard down through the night. But for now, we continue to have that tornado warning for McDowell County and Rutherford County. Old Fort, the worst of it, pretty much right on top of you. And we'll check in on some of this rotation. Then we're going to look at some of the overall wind across the mountains. So you can see now any potential for a tornado has moved east of Old Fort. So now we're looking at that better potential in some of our smaller communities here. But again, the main indicator that we've got some rotation in this is you can see how the wind is kind of wrapping in here. That's an indicator that we've got this rotation happening in the storm, whether it be a tornado or just overall mesocyclone rotation, meaning the overall spin of the entire storm, or if it's producing a tornado. Seeing this still indicates that there's that potential. So that would be now east of Old Fort. And that puts this still very close to I-40, so not far from West Marion. And you can see we put a little box next to this just to show you our view from Greenville. My producer Jordan was saying that you can see some lightning flashes occasionally on there from the tower cam as we are looking north and west toward these storms. So we'll leave it up there for a minute. So especially if you're in the upstate, you can kind of see how this is looking. But there, surrounded in the black, is the tornado warning. Old Fort included there, right along I-40. And then for the rest of the mountains, I want to put the non-tornado wind up. This is our just general velocity, because it is very, very windy in parts of the mountains right now. We've been focused on the tornado warning, but look at that wind velocity through Jackson County. 65-mile-per-hour winds happening there. And that's going to be a constant, really. I'm going to go up querying into Haywood County. So this is near Waynesville. We're seeing 46-mile-an-hour wind there. And then you go into northern Henderson County, drops just slightly, but still 41 miles an hour. 27-mile-an-hour wind as that goes into Rutherford County. And then over toward Cashers, picking up 47-mile-per-hour winds. So really all along this line of heavy rain, we're getting some strong wind, and the focus for some of the highest winds right now look to be in this general area from Henderson County over toward Jackson County. That's where we're seeing some of the most severe wind at this point. So we are on the air right now, though, if you're just joining us, because of a tornado warning that has been ongoing in McDowell and Rutherford counties. And this is going to continue until 1 a.m. This does include Faro, Vane Mountain. I'll leave those communities up on the screen for a moment there. This is coming out of Old Fort. So if you are in your safe place in Old Fort watching us, stay there just for a little bit longer. Let's make sure that this storm fully clears your area before you end up coming back out and, heading to bed, because I know that especially if you've got kids and had to get them up and get them in that safe place, that's a stressful thing. They probably just want to be asleep in their beds at this point. So we'll give you the all clear in just a second. We're still, again, seeing some rotation within the storm there, and it's going to be closing in on Glenwood here shortly, really just south of Marion. And I'll zoom up a little bit so you can see that here in McDowell County. So we've got West Marion here. Here's Marion. So it's mainly just south of there we're seeing some of the most intense rotation within the storm. So right here near I-40 along, there we go, 221, where we're seeing, again, some of the potential for tornadic development within the storm. We've not had a tornado reported with this McDowell County storm, but it is certainly a possibility at this point. You can see on the tower cam picture right there. In fact, I just got an alert, the light from our First Alert Weather app. And the lightning has been detected about 10 miles from our station, and this is our tower cam actually looking toward, there you go, and you can see those flashes of lightning. So tornado warning continues in McDowell County. Thunderstorms are getting into the upstate, and in fact, let's get a look too at where those storms are right now. We're seeing some lightning, heavy rain get on into Tryon and down into the northern part of Greenville County. Nothing severe with this so far. The main wind, as we saw earlier, is really over toward Cashers, Jackson County, and then we've got some very intense thunderstorms with lots of lightning. You see all that white there. That's what's moving through Helen, Georgia, Clayton, Georgia, and will ultimately make its way into upstate areas. In fact, Oconee County next in line for some of that. So currently, Rabun County not under a severe thunderstorm warning, but we're going to be watching this because this is the kind of thunder and heavy rain. It's going to wake up the kids. It's going to scare the pets, and that's going to be coming into Walhalla right around 1 a.m., 1:15 for Oakway, about 1:24 for Clemson. So some strong thunderstorm activity on the way for you, and not necessarily severe, but certainly could become severe. And then we continue to track McDowell County storm. In fact, it looks like, let me confirm, that we have seen that tornado warning dropped from there. And I will double check if it's just not showing up. But yes, they have canceled the tornado warning for McDowell and Rutherford counties. And just like we were talking about a minute ago, the tornado, the rotation for the storm was much more pronounced back around Black Mountain. So if there was a tornado, it likely happened around Black Mountain toward the McDowell-Buncombe County line. But this storm has weakened now. And look, and Asheville, you're in the clear at this point. Now it's really going to be all about what this stuff does once it gets into the upstate. So we will get back to regular programming, but of course be ready and able to hop on the air when we need to if a tornado warning gets issued or a particularly dangerous severe thunderstorm warning in the next couple of hours. But yeah, upstate, get ready for it. 15 minutes or so from now, you're really going to start to hear that thunder. Should be on the 85 corridor between 1 and 2 a.m. Be sure to download the Fox Carolina First Alert Weather app. Scan the code on your screen. Get the app for free. This is what we always suggest because it's a way for us to connect with you, for us to better serve you and send you updates straight to your phone as we get them overnight. And it's also a great way to get those life-saving alerts in the middle of the night as well. We'll keep you posted right here and be back on whenever needed.